Howdy, hi. It is Do Your Job Sports NFL Week 14 picks and predictions. We're looking at the best bets of the week. Let's get into the video. All right, so normally there would be a recap section, but we didn't bet any games last week. Kind of forgot to make a video. Too busy doing other things. So no recap. We're just going to get straight on to the picks for Week 14. First game, Green Bay, Detroit. I'm taking the Lions minus 3.5 and the over 51.5. Packers head into Detroit, take on arguably the best team in football. These teams already matched up this year. The Lions were able to win that game 24-14. That was at Lambeau. Weather did play a decent part in the fact that the over did not hit in the previous game. This one being in a dome now, I think we are bound to see a decent amount of points. Packers are 9-3 on the year, coming off of a 13-point win against the Dolphins. They have won 3 in a row, but I think they're about to get smacked here by the Lions. Packers should be able to score a decent amount now that it's being played in a dome stadium, and not the freezing rain that we're playing in the previous time. So I like the Packers to be able to score 20 to 25. I still don't think that's going to be anywhere close to enough. The Lions might be able to get 40 on them. The Lions are 11-1. They've won 10 games in a row. They have the second best scoring offense in the league, averaging 410 yards a game, 32 points per game. Their defense is also ranked 10th in the NFL, giving up just 17 points a game. I think the Lions continue to roll here. Their offense is just crazy. I have David Montgomery on my fantasy football team. This dude is the reason I will be making the playoffs. He's super consistent, really good. He was injured there for a week, but other than that, he has been a demon. Obviously, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Goff at quarterback. You have one of the best head coaches and play designers in the NFL. Massive advantage here with the Lions. Surprised this line's only 3.5. Thought it'd be closer to 6 and 7, but I will definitely take it at 3.5. Next game, Browns and Steelers. It should be no surprise. I'm rocking with my Browns plus 6.5. Also taking the over of 43.5. The Browns are horrible. I think we all witnessed that on Monday Night Football when Jameis threw 2 pick sixes. But we have the Steelers' number. I don't see why we can't beat them again. We did it in the snow game. Let's run it back for round 2. Now, for the majority of the snow game that was played 3 weeks ago, the Browns kind of dominated them. We just allowed 14 points in 2 minutes based off of like a 60-yard passing play and then a butt fumble by Chubb. So you take those 2 plays out of the equation, and we would have won that game by a bunch. The Browns' defense has been playing absolutely horrible. On paper, we have one of the best defenses in the league, but I don't know if it's our D coordinator or just the fact that these guys are kind of already mentally checked out for the season. We just allow some egregious plays to happen. Like the 80-yard touchdown against the Broncos. What was that? What are we doing? And then you have Jameis Winston throwing 2 pick sixes in a single game. Couldn't tell you the last time I saw that happen. But thank you, Jameis, for single-handedly losing us that game. You have the fact that Kevin Stefanski has decided the Browns are just not going to run the football, despite having one of the best running backs in the NFL with Nick Chubb. Just a lot of question marks on this team. I'm still backing them, though, because I like them, and they're my team. So that's what we kind of have to do. But I am taking the over here of 43.5. The Steelers might put up 30 points in this game just because their defense is that bad. So hopefully the Browns can keep up. I would not mind a nice 31-28. The Browns can still lose this game. Really don't care. Just cover the 6.5, hit the over, and I'll be okay. So give me the Browns with the points and the over. Next game might be an ugly football game. It's the Jaguars and the Titans. Mac Jones and this Jaguars squad head into Tennessee to take on Will Levis and a ragtag group of Tennessee Titans. Did not have this in the predictions for the beginning of the year, but hey ho, here we are. I don't think the Titans should be laying points to anybody, maybe besides like the Giants, maybe the Browns, to be honest with you, who knows, but not against a Mac Jones-led Jaguars team that is probably playing with a bit more of an edge now that Trevor Lawrence got almost murdered on a football field. Jaguars coming off that loss to the Texans. Obviously, T-Law got concussed, and that's caused about a bunch of controversy and news jarring around quarterback slides, what about them, helmet protect, just a bunch of nonsense. NFL has gotten soft. If you're a quarterback and you want to run out of the pocket and then slide down really late, you are going to get hit. So either just slide down way earlier or go in there and hit the dude. Like you can't have this middle ground where you slide late. Like you're going to get clocked. Figure it out. Anyway, that being said, 4 out of the last 5 Jaguars games have been pretty competitive. Now, granted, that is with Trevor Lawrence, but still, they have a 3-point loss to the Packers, a 5-point loss to the Vikings, 5-point loss to the Eagles, a 3-point loss to the Texans. They've only been blown out. The only blow was against the Lions. Despite being 2-10, they're still going out there and competing. I don't know why. I would have laid down and died about 3 weeks ago, but more power to you, Jaguars. Titans, they're 1-4 straight up at home this year. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 games. Will Levis is arguably just not a good quarterback. We all have those photos of him for the beginning of the year, whether it's him on his knees with his hands on his head after he threw the pick 6, or him like midway through the air almost crying, or him on the bench actually crying. A lot of good pictures of Will Levis because he's not good. He makes a bunch of really young, boneheaded mistakes. I think he's going to do it again here. Give me the Jaguars +4. I think this might be my favorite bet of the week. I think the Jaguars are going to win by like 10. This team is not that bad. Next game, Falcons and the Vikings. I'm taking the Falcons +5.5. The Vikings are not good. They've just had the easiest schedule in football. Listen to their last 5 wins. The Colts, horrible. The Jags, horrible. The Titans, also horrible. The Bears, one of the worst teams in football. And then the Cardinals, who arguably that's a good win. Congratulations for beating the Cardinals. This is their toughest game, I think, in their last 6 weeks. The Falcons are a decent team. And then you have the whole Kirk Cousins back in Minnesota angle. The Falcons have lost their last 3 games, but they have covered this number in 2 of them, a 3-point loss at the Saints and a 4-point loss versus the Chargers. They average 11 more yards per game on offense than the Vikings do. It is 375 yards per game for the Falcons compared to 364 for the Vikings. Defenses are basically the same here. Falcons are giving up 349 a game. Vikings giving up 347 a game. This game is a Kirk Cousins revenge game. He is coming off throwing 4 interceptions against the Chargers. It's his first time back in Minnesota. I'm assuming the crowd's going to welcome him with open arms and cheer and stuff, but either way, Kirk's going to be mad. He's going to want to come in here and blow him out of the water. Give me Falcons +5.5. Hit the money line too. The Vikings aren't good. They just don't play anyone. Literally no one. Next game I'm looking at, it is the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I'm taking the Seahawks +2.5 and the over 44.5. These teams played just 2 weeks ago. They met up in Seattle, and the Seahawks were able to win that game 16-6. It was a pretty ugly football game. Neither team was able to get over 300 total yards. They both turned it over one time with an interception. I think we see the exact opposite in game 2 that normally tends to happen in most sports. Whatever the game 1 result is, just flip it, and that'll be the game 2 result. However, I do still think the Seahawks win because I think they're the better team. Seahawks have won every single game since their bye week 3 weeks ago. They have beaten the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Jets. Arguably all decent football teams on paper. Obviously, the Niners have their problems with injuries. The Jets have their problems with just being the Jets at football. And the Cardinals have slipped up in a few weeks in a row. I think they're kind of heading down a path that leads towards not making the playoffs. All of them have been pretty close games. It was a 3-point win, a 10-point win, and then a 5-point win. These two teams very similar in terms of averaging stats on offense and defense. They average 362 and 358 yards per game on offense, and then they give up 355 and 352 yards on defense. So can't really cherry pick anything from the stats department. I think this game is a toss-up. I'm going to give the edge to the Seahawks. They're undefeated since their bye week. They just beat this team 2 weeks ago, holding them to 6 points. However, I do think we see a flip-flop in scoring. I think this is like a 30-27 type of game with the Seahawks winning. Should be more points in a dome, not in that crazy Seahawk environment. I don't really think Arizona is going to show up to this game and pack the stadium. So I'll take the Seahawks +2.5 and the over 44.5. Next game. I'm going to take back what I said about the Jags and the Titans. This is probably the ugliest game of the week. These Saints and the Giants. Taking the Saints -5 here. I think they should be minus 10. This Giants team is horrible. They got no running back. They have no quarterbacks. and their wide receivers just complain about how bad this team is and how much they want to be traded. So when that's happening, you're probably not going to win many football games. Saints have won 2 out of their last 3 games. They have wins against the Falcons and the Browns, and a 7-point loss to the Rams. They average 40 more yards a game on offense than the Giants do. The Giants' defense ranked 21st, giving up 360 yards a game. This is going to be Drew Lock's first start with the Giants. I have zero faith in this dude. I've watched enough football that he's played to know he's not good. If he was good, he would have been the Giants' starting quarterback after Daniel Dimes left. But he didn't. They went with the homegrown Italian, and now they're going with Drew Lock. So that is all you should need to know there. Giants fans are not going to be happy. They should be booing almost the entire game when they're down 15 or 16 at halftime. Who knows? I think mentally they're not going to really care for this game or the rest of their season. They're 2-10. They have no shot at making the playoffs. They live in New York. It's cold as hell. You're playing outdoor football, and you suck. Why would you want to win this football game? At this point, you don't want to win this football game. You just want to finish last place, and that's it. So give me the Saints, -5. Lock it up. Final game, Monday Night Football. Bengals and the Cowgirls, taking the Bengals -5 and the over 49.5. The Bengals have lost 3 games in a row, despite their offense putting up 34 points, 27 points, and 38 points. That is impressive that you have lost all of those games. Their defense is horrible. You probably saw it in the Steelers game if you watched. They can't stop anyone. They let Russell Wilson and Pat Freiermuth, paired along with Najee Harris, absolutely torch them on the ground and in the secondary. How are you letting Pat Freiermuth and Russell Wilson tear you up defensively? That is horrible. So I do like the Bengals -5, but I am taking the over just in case the Cowboys put up 30 plus, because they probably can, just based on how bad this Bengals defense is. Bengals offense has been solid this year. They're ranked first in passing yards a game at 264, ninth in overall yards a game at 370. They average 28 points a game compared to the Cowgirls, who average just 21. Both of these defenses, horrible. They're ranked 27th and 25th, giving up 380 and 378 yards per game. The Cowgirls have given up a minimum of 20-plus points in their last 7 straight games. That's home, that's away. Doesn't matter where they're playing, they suck. I think that continues here. They're playing a Bengals offense that is red hot, putting up, again, 34, 27, 38 points in their last 3 games. Joe Burrow and company needs this win if they want any chance of making the playoffs, even though I'm pretty sure they're almost basically dead, especially with last week's loss to the Steelers. But that's it for me. Give me the Bengals and the over 49.5. And that's going to wrap it up. I appreciate you all watching and tuning in. And I will see you next week with another NFL Picks video. Peace.